think hope is good in this situation. Obviously, hope is known to sustain people's lives when in desperate situations. They tested out the idea of hope on a couple of drowning rats, and what do you know? It works! So I think a bit of hope in our drowning situation is good too. There are days when my hope wanes, and wanes a lot, but I'm not quite at the point of despair. But regardless, despair is a sin, so don't do it. Now, I'm not a politician. I'm not anyone special. I'm just some random 21-year-old dirtbag on the internet who draws like a 5-year-old that people have deemed worthy of being listened to for some reason. And being listened to for hours and hours. Which I am grateful for, and if you made it this far into the video, hooray! But if you want some hardcore public policy solutions, I'm not the guy for that. Maybe some think tank papers can provide you with those, or some other books. You can also read all of the books I list in my sources. Those are all fantastic and help tremendously with this video. Also, those people are a lot smarter than me. Basically, most of my solutions come in the form of influencing the culture, finding ways to persuade people to do something, because that's really all I can offer at the end of the day. And in our society, there is no substitute for persuasion and arguments. At least here I can offer a solution for the time being. Public policy generally involves trade-offs over just solutions. So I'm sticking with culture for now. But effective persuasion can go a long way, and that's how we get things done in this country. There are people out there who are a lot smarter than me, and likely more sociable than me, who know how to go about organizing and facilitating these types of things in their own local communities. So at this point, you can either look to them, or get your friends together and maybe you can be the ones to do something in your community. The greater the fecundity for genuinely creative ideas with respect to reviving civil society, the better. I'm hoping that with the reach I have, I'll be able to persuade a couple hundred people out there. Or at least one person. That's about the extent of my skill set anyway. Now in my opinion, the decline of civil society is just one part of what I think is seriously afflicting America right now. If, after watching this video, you think so too, or are more convinced about the importance of civil society, then I've done my job here. If I've helped you understand that free markets and capitalism are indispensable to real economic growth, progress, and helping to make space available within civil society, then I've done my job here. If I've helped you understand how our liberal democratic system is one of the primary engines for facilitating the liberty to have institutions of civil society and do what we ought to do, then I've done my job here. And perhaps most importantly, if I've helped you understand how the family, our most basic unit of human organization, is absolutely crucial for forming and sustaining healthy human beings, for inculcating a sense of shared purpose, faith, and the development of a broader community civilized out of the tribal appetites of human nature, then I have done my job here. I guess now would also be a good time to cover my bases and say that while I did mention many times throughout this video that a lot of the problems we've been experiencing have been prevalent in the last half century, that also doesn't mean that the events of the last half century are the direct source of some of these problems. Some of these problems can go back centuries even, only just now materializing in their most obtrusive form. I think Eric Voegelin traced all of our problems back to Gnosticism, so... But anyway, here's where we have to decide what kind of culture and what kind of country we're looking to be. If the trend of the last half century has shown us anything, we're slowly becoming a culture that doesn't really bother with the founding virtues, or institutional dependence, or really even community building, over being a culture that demands constant entertainment, leisure, and ease. Charles Murray calls this the European view of life, where the purpose of life is to while away the time between birth and death as pleasantly as possible, and the purpose of government is to make it easy as possible to while away the time as pleasantly as possible. The European syndrome. Or, there is an alternative, and that alternative consists of all the virtues and principles that America was founded on, what made America exceptional. It's everything that I've been saying is slowly disappearing from a vast portion of American life. It's building strong, stable, and healthy families. It's revitalizing those mediating institutions which give people life and meaning. It's recommitting to civil society. The alternative to the Europe syndrome is to say that your life can have transcendent meaning if it is spent doing important things. Raising a family, supporting yourself, being a good friend and a good neighbor, learning what you can do well and then doing it as well as you possibly can. Providing the best possible framework for doing these things is what the American project is all about. When I say that the American project is in danger, that's the nature of the loss I have in mind. The loss of the framework through which people can best pursue happiness. If, after watching this video, you now feel more motivated to live out and promulgate what the true core of the American dream is, I implore you to take on that challenge. The difficult part now is actually getting people out there in their communities and doing things, and that requires both me and you. It requires the effort, will, and moral courage from all of us, and nothing happens unless we get up and start doing things. And in our current state, that's not going to be easy. Convincing those who are wrapped up in the feedback loop of polarizing and demagogic language, who see their others as being pure evil, and who rush to defend their own tribes and identities, is not going to be easy. Altering the public discourse in such a way that it is not just feeding off of our worst primordial instincts, or telling us what we want to hear and breaking down the nuance of real human experience, will not be easy. And some people just don't want to hear you convince them otherwise. We have a generation of young Americans that are more anxious, depressed, and meaningless than ever before. Giving them something to live for, when our society is dead in their souls, when all they've known is nihilism and the thrill of the immediate moment, will not be easy. But for starters, maybe you can reunite with old friends, form new friends, build new associations, maybe start a bowling league, start volunteering more, get more involved with your community, form a connection with your local church, do good things and do good things with other people, and let them know that they are needed. Develop your social capital, make that sacrifice for your community, and find your place in the vast realm of civil society. And I'm gonna leave off with a quote from Alexis de Tocqueville. Americans of all ages, all conditions, and all dispositions constantly form associations. They have not only commercial and manufacturing companies, in which all take part, but associations of 1,000 other kinds. Religious, moral, serious, futile, general, restricted, enormous, or diminutive. The Americans make associations to give entertainments, to found seminaries, to build inns, to construct churches, to diffuse books, to send missionaries to the Antipodes. In this manner, they found hospitals, prisons, and schools. If it is proposed to inculcate some truth or to foster some feeling by the encouragement of a great example, they form a society. Wherever at the head of some new undertaking you see the government in France, or a man of rank in England, in the United States you will be sure to find an association. As soon as several of the inhabitants of the United States have taken up an opinion or a feeling which they wish to promote in the world, they look out for mutual assistance, and as soon as they have found one another, they combine. From that moment, they are no longer isolated men, but a power seen from afar. If men are to remain civilized, or to become so, the art of associating together must grow and improve. This has been Political Juice. Thanks for watching.